Hawaii. It's still the greatest place in the world for us surfers. No matter how many times you've driven out to the country, you always get a rush as you come over that last hill and head down into Haleiwa. The North Shore is an easy kind of place to kick back and enjoy living. You've got plenty of time to do anything you want, and mostly nothing at all. The tropical environment makes it the closest thing to paradise for us who enjoy the surfing life. But there's an underlying excitement here that rises to a fever pitch every time the surf comes up. Our camera crew stays here all winter because it's impossible to predict when the biggest and best days will be, and that's what we're here for. Late this year, after most of the touring pros had left the North Shore, we got one of the best days ever at Off the Wall. The shape of the waves at reef breaks like Off the Wall is ultimately determined by shifting sands. Some years it doesn't even break, but this is what it's like when it's perfect. Nobody ever said living in paradise would be inexpensive. With nearly everything having to be shipped in or imported, and gasoline at nearly $2 a gallon, spending your last quarter on a shave ice and wonton chips can cause a real dilemma for the clever surfer. Some say that creative financing was born on the North Shore. crowds and cameras really turn out when the surf is up at Pipeline. Breaking incredibly close to shore, Pipeline provides a vantage point which gives spectators a close-up view of what big wave surfing is all about. The carnival-like atmosphere on the beach is in direct contrast to the danger lurking in the water. But when the conditions are just right, Pipeline can provide a display of skill and daring that is beautiful to watch. From his vantage point at the Pipeline Hilton, Jerry Lopez still catches the very best moments. When the conditions are wrong, the crowds show up to witness the age-old struggle between man and nature as adversaries. The number of broken boards on the beach at the end of the day reflects the degree of commitment shown by Pipeline's best riders.
First week you're in Hawaii is a real adjustment. You really have to adjust to the speed and power of the waves, and you really have to conquer your fear. And it takes about a week before you're confident within yourself to really attack those big waves. And I found that after that week's over, I do some of my best surfing, because I'm over there, I'm fresh, I've got a new approach, and I'm just trying to surf those big waves like I'm trying to surf the small waves. Then you really start to attack and you really start to fire. And then you have the contest start to come around. So you surf during the contest, try to play it reasonably conservative all the way through until your heats when you try to rip it up. And then once the contest is over, you can really get back to tearing it up and free surfing again. What I look for in surfboards really depends on the wave. For a big wave board, I look most of all for reliability. You want a board that when you crank that turn at the bottom of a 10-foot wave at pipe, the board's going to hold in and not going to spin out. But then in a small board, you want something that's really alive, responsive, and very, very fast and maneuverable. So I'm sort of looking for two different sorts of things. For big waves, I just ride round pintails. I don't touch anything else at all. And then for small waves, I'll go for multiple fins, twins, or thrusters. I think in terms of surfboard design, I'm more of a mechanic than an innovator. It's the guys like MR and Simon who I think have really put out the new ideas in the last 5 or 6 years. MR came up with the twin fin, revitalized the twin fin, and Simon came up with the thruster design. Now I'm totally tuned into thrusters. I love the boards. I love them for waves between 4 and 8 feet, and under 4 feet I'll choose a twin fin any time, and over 8 feet I'll choose a single. So it's the innovators who I always have to be watching. I always have to be watching what's happening in surfing, because you don't want anyone to get a competitive advantage. I think I had a great advantage coming from a place like South Africa, which is reasonably conservative. I wasn't exposed to a lot of the things that a lot of young kids are exposed to, which can destroy their lives. I managed to stay away from the bad influences that can destroy talent. And I just wanted to be the best. I always wanted to be the best surfer. Surfing was a great outlet for that competitive drive, because I loved doing it. And the more I did it, the more I wanted to do it. The more I competed, the more I wanted to win. And I think most of all, it's just fantastic fun. I mean, I just have a blast out there. I really do. I can see myself doing exactly what I'm doing now for the next 4 years. I love it.
As in the transition from the 60s to the 70s, the change into the 80s saw the emergence of an ominous new weather pattern. Severe storms struck the coast of the Hawaiian Islands, creating huge, closed-out waves and impossible conditions for surfing. On Maui's south shore, the damage was severe. These boats were smashed by wind and sea alike. Meanwhile, on the northern side, the sea is still very much alive, and the winds are driving hard offshore. Gradually, they lessen, and at Pakukala, longtime surf mates Jerry Lopez and Terry Fitzgerald utilized longer boards and their extensive wave knowledge to pick up the few rideable waves out of the storm swell. Unprepared surfers learn the hard way. As the Kona winds subside and the swell begins to organize, we drive to another spot on Maui's north side. Windmills is a place where both lefts and rights break over a reef that's even shallower than Pipeline. With the wind in transition, we get it incredibly glassy, and it sure feels great to be out in the warm water and sunshine again. As the weather settles and the trade winds return, we get ideal conditions for sailboarding. Here at Hukipa Park, several of the world's best are out practicing wave jumping for an upcoming contest. Hukipa's combination of trade winds and big surf have made it the premier spot in the world for wave jumping. With advancements in sailboard design, especially the use of foam boards and multiple fins, sailboarding overlaps more and more into the previously exclusive area of wave riding. The big challenge for sailboarders is to see who can jump the highest, who can be the first one to achieve an aerial 360. Trade winds and a building swell create ideal conditions at the most perfect big wave point break in the world, Honolulu Bay. We catch Reno Avalira sharing some rides with Ray Pino, Nathan Moody, and a few other Maui locals. Protected from most swells by neighboring Molokai, Honolulu Bay is one of those spots which only breaks when the swell is giant. Back on Oahu, we are greeted by lines to the horizon and one of the most awesome spectacles ever photographed. A small band of surfers accept the challenge of Waimea Bay and the biggest waves ever ridden. Inevitably, by the end of the day, someone gets into big trouble. Sometimes it's a surfer who has misjudged his abilities, or it may be an unwary observer who gets swept from the shore. It's then that the courage and ability of the North Shore lifeguards is truly appreciated. Michael Ho, at 24, has been surfing competitively since he was 8. That's over 16 years of competition experience, and his pleasure surfing reflects it. Even though he enjoys carving big surf, his real enjoyment comes from hot-dogging smaller waves. Born in California but raised in Hawaii, his surfing has been helped by friends like Lopez, Hackman, and Bertelman. Michael also acknowledges that a great deal of advice has been given to him from Hawaii's greatest living waterman, George Downing. As he's progressed and personalized his style and equipment, he has taken a unique and personal path. In even the huge North Shore surf, Michael Ho rides very small surfboards. In an area where most people want all of the flotation and rail line possible, Ho sacrifices length and paddling for increased performance. Michael Ho is a great representative for Hawaii as he travels around the world in professional competition. We often face the difficult decision of where to film when a swell comes up, whether to stay at the proven spots or to take a chance on the spots that are more fickle but surely less crowded. When a big south swell hits in just the right direction, the south side of Maui can offer relatively uncrowded surf. However, much of this surf is blocked by neighboring islands, and so it takes local observation to know when these secluded reefs are pumping. For the locals and a few smart travelers, go the spoils. Great waves and just a couple of friends out, all thanks to the underground communications network known to surfers everywhere as the Coconut Telegraph. While a mother and baby humpback whale play in the channel, the swell has reached its peak. And though it may only break once in a few years, we were on the scene for this, the biggest day in memory at the fastest wave in the world, Malaya. It's feared that the nearby harbor expansion might spell the end of this perfect wave, but for now, we share this rare speed ride with Al Chapman and Wayne Santos. The hydrofoils have found the inter-island turbulence to be so severe that they no longer run. With a slight change in direction, the swells at Malaya stop as quickly as they came up. Hopping a plane, we pursue the same south swell to an even more secluded spot. Some of these places, and there are many, are so remote that they are nearly impossible to reach without a four-wheel drive. Expensive, but it keeps the crowds down. Here we join knee rider Ray Pino and some of his friends at one of the perfect secret spots never before seen on film. beauty of Hawaii is as exquisite as it is fragile. Traditional ways are slowly disappearing, falling before the promises of modern technology. Nowhere is the best and worst of this progress more evident than in Honolulu. Apart from the lingering aroma of suntan oil, the emerald waters of Waikiki and Ala Moana remain unchanged, as they were in the old days, beautiful. As the 70s became the 80s, not unlike the last decade change, the whole Earth responded, and huge swells from the southern hemisphere pounded the reefs at Ala Moana, sometimes even closing out the deep channel into the Alawai Yacht Harbor. Here at the birthplace of modern surfing, we were fortunate to catch Hawaiian surfers Jerry Lopez, Larry Brudelman, and Michael Ho ripping one of the biggest south swells in years. Increasing swells in the channel nearly caught several expensive yachts as they foolishly headed out to sea. But the real price for courage, or is that stupidity, has to go to these two guys who managed to punch their Hobie Cat out to the lineup, only to get completely stuffed in the pit of an Ala Moana monster. Bobby Owens is the competitive surfer to watch in the 80s as he makes his move to the top of professional surfing.
My goal at the present time is to get to the top of the IPS. All my energy has to be directed to that goal. Right now, I'm trying to develop equipment that will take my surfing to a higher level of performance. I want to come up with a more dominating type of style. My surfing is fluid, but for contests, I need to gear it a little more radically. And now I'm serious enough about professional surfing to where I'm committing myself fully to it. And that means a full-on rigorous training schedule, jogging, paddling hard even when the surf's flat, having a carefully planned diet. This year, Ian Cairns is coaching me to improve the competitive aspects of my surfing, because that's what it takes to win. And I want to win. It's one thing to have confidence in big waves, but to turn around and surf big waves backside requires a whole different level of confidence. When I take off backside at Pipeline, plain and simply, it's scary. But eventually, I just get into it and I start pulling off certain maneuvers and I build up a rhythm, and all of a sudden, my whole approach becomes spontaneous. Even then, you still have to be careful. You have to catch yourself once in a while and just be aware that safety is first. You just can't jump ahead and go for it. You've got to do it step by step through development of design, through the amount of experience you gain over the years, and just make the right moves. I try to be totally aware out in the water and push it when the wave dictates that I can push it. Occasionally I'll break outside those boundaries and really pour it on and try things that maybe I'm not supposed to be doing and just hope for the best, hope that I don't get hurt.
Sunset Beach, breaking nearly a quarter of a mile out in the ocean. The power of sunset can't be appreciated unless you've been there. The drop alone is longer than most other waves. It takes a truly experienced surfer like Ken Bradshaw to successfully make those takeoffs, but even then, sunset can sneak up on you. There's more water moving here than anywhere, but sunset, when it's on, is the high-performance big wave. At the end of a day of good surf on the North Shore, we're feeling great. It's a good time to sit down with your friends and talk about the day's best rides and where we'll surf tomorrow. Early the next morning, we're winging out of Oahu, bound for Kauai, where the pace is even more relaxed and the competitive pressures of the North Shore are forgotten. Kauai, the Garden Isle, is home to the wettest spot on the face of the earth, Mount Waialeale. Kauai's abundant greenery often surrounds beautiful waterfalls and shelters many sacred pools. It's a very real paradise for those of us who love the water. Though the surf is normally not as big as on Oahu, we appreciate the beautifully different character of Kauai's waves. Passing through the famous tree tunnel, we join locals Glenn Kalakahui, Mike Smith, Steve Klein, and the world's top professional woman surfer, Margot Oberg, having a great session on the south side. Leaving Kauai and the Hawaiian Islands, we take with us another year of good memories and the footage to prove it. We'll be back next season, but for now, we're looking forward to new adventures. Passing Rincon, we head up the coast to Morro Bay and some of the biggest sand dunes along the California coast. This was the spawning ground for one of the most unique and exciting offshoots of the sport of surfing we've ever seen. With Jack Smith and his friend Gary Fluitt, we're introduced to the wild new sport of sandboarding.
There's been people playing on the dunes out here for a long time. We saw them playing and we decided it'd be kind of fun to try some of the things they were doing. And we saw people out here on pieces of cardboard, wood with carpet tacked on top, even a few people on old car hoods. And the biggest problem we noticed was they'd go about 10 feet and have to jump off because they'd get going so fast they couldn't turn, couldn't control it. So we figured, well, there's got to be a better way, something to make the walk back up a little bit more enjoyable. So we started fooling around with some different designs, and we came up with the idea that you had to have a V bottom on the board so you could switch from edge to edge. Well, we came up with the only way you're going to get that design is, go to a laminated board under lots of pressure using heat and about 2 tons of pressure to get the bend in it. And so we did that, and we brought the board out here, and it worked really good going down the hill. We could turn, we could go from edge to edge. For me, it's just the greatest feeling in the world.
Once we had turns down and we could carve faces fairly well, we started looking at jumps and aerials. And to do this, we had to have an adequate binding system to keep the board to our feet. So we looked around at different things, ropes and certain bungee cords and stuff, leashes, and nothing seemed to work too well. And we came up with 2 rubber straps attached laterally to the board. And what happens is they go over the top crown of your foot and over the toes. And when you jump up into the air, these secure your feet really well to the board. We found that also these bindings helped us control the board quite well under really radical maneuvers and tight turns.
The end of the day is always the same in sandboarding, tired legs and a big smile on your face. In fact, the only time conditions are bad is when it's raining. Joining former world champion Wayne Rabbit Bartholomew, his wife Tony, Bruce Raymond and Edwin Santos in the Caribbean, we hit the inevitable flat spell. This puts us all under a lot of pressure as Bruce and Rabbit have very little time before the next leg of the contest circuit. Finally, we're greeted by the sound of waves, and the gang is stoked. The surf is excellent, the water's warm, and there's no one there but us. On our journeys, we're frequently amazed with incredible displays from Mother Nature. Here in the Caribbean, we'd wind up our session just in time to see a spectacular waterspout over 2,000 feet high. For Bruce and Rabbit, it's time to start thinking about the long journey home to Australia. Australia is a coastal country with over 90% of its population spread out along its vast coastline. Surfing is regarded as a major sport here, and though most visitors think of Australia as the land of kangaroos, surfers the world over regard Australia as a land of competitive surfing and home of the current world champion, Mark Richards, the only man to ever hold this title 3 times. Mark's equipment has had a profound influence on both professional and recreational surfers everywhere. The use of the small twin fin has now become accepted in both small and medium performance waves, and this acceptance has led to further experimentation in the use of multiple fin concepts. Mark has the unique ability to perform well in any kind of surf, and he has the drive to put out the extra effort to extend his own limits. The very first surfers used no boards at all, and today, the art of body surfing has been taken to the point where it's gained universal appreciation and respect from the rest of the surfing community. Some of the things body surfers do are truly incredible. Using only a pair of fins and sometimes a handboard, body surfers enjoy wave riding with a minimum of equipment. Perhaps the most exciting recent addition to the world of surfing is the boogie board. It's the easiest way to learn surfing, and its potential is virtually limitless.
mountains to the sea, to all of Southern California, a good evening. Tonight's top story continues to be the shark menace off the California coast. Beach communities are still reeling from last month's tragic fatality of a young surfer near Monterey at the hands of, or that should be the jaws, of a great white shark. Here in the Southland, a number of sightings have left feelings of terror in the hearts of beachgoers. Today, another of these monsters from the deep menaced a group of surfers at our own Malibu Beach. Fortunately, as of this hour, we're able to report that no attacks have occurred. Now for a live minicam report, we take you to George Woodward at Malibu Beach.
Thanks, Jerry. This is George Woodward, live at the beach in Malibu. And standing beside me, lifeguard Morton Wisdom. Tell us, Morton, what did you see this morning?
Well, George, I was opening up my lifeguard station, and I heard some commotion in the water, and I looked up, and here was a real large shark swimming among the surfers.
Well, did you have any trouble getting the surfers out of the water?
No, George. The minute they saw the shark, they all swam to shore.
Well, looks like just another fish story. Live from Malibu.
Where's my friend Norm?
Look, he's still in the water.
Rain again. After weeks of no surf, the walls are beginning to close in. On Maui, Chris Lassen whiles the time away, dreaming about the perfect wave. On a faraway island paradise, it exists. A place so remote that few surfers will ever see it except in photographs. To go there, to see this perfect wave firsthand would be the trip of a lifetime. After months of preparation, we're on our way. Traveling with Chris and his friend Chuck Venata, we leave Hawaii bound for the Orient. After 4 separate flights, we're halfway around the world and totally fascinated by everything that we see. Getting around in a foreign land where you can neither read the signs nor speak the language is the first problem. But getting away from the tourist resorts and seeing local life is what makes it interesting. While we find the contrast of such a different culture intriguing, we must remember it is we who are foreign. We are the curiosities to these people who view us as the rich Americans. 7 days after leaving Honolulu, we are heading away from the population centers. Approaching the coast, we fly over incredible tropical rainforests as equatorial splendor passes beneath our wingtips. Coming in over the rice paddies, we realize that we are far from the security of modern society. Chris and Chuck thank the pilot for a safe journey and a successful landing, but we're unprepared for the arduous bus ride ahead and the strange stares of the curious. We are headed through the lush countryside toward the coast where there's no landing strip. The cramped bus is not built for people our size, and there's nothing between our wooden seats and the bumpy road but us. Finally at the coast, the rough ride has taken its toll. We're exhausted. The heat and humidity here are really unbearable, though at least we're one step closer, and tomorrow our journey ends. Everyone assumes that we're rich. Each surfboard and every little piece of equipment costs us extra. The people who live here don't have any excess baggage, and in spite of having a pocket full of strange foreign bills, it's getting expensive. But at least we're on the water again. In spite of the lack of shade on the crowded boat, we feel the excitement building. We're nearly there. We feel great. Ours is the last stop, and as we approach the dock, we feel swells under our feet. After 9 days of constant travel, we're finally at our destination. We're on the island. The people are friendly and living in a world barely touched by the 20th century. They totally lack modern conveniences, but they're content. They seem to know that their island was a paradise. For us as surfers, it was a dream come true. Chris and Chuck found in the experience of riding perfect waves alone what the search is all about, a chance to share. The locals already knew. Chris and Chuck begin their long journey home, reflecting on the adventure, one they will remember for a lifetime. They'll remember the people, the place, but most of all, the wave. We have traveled halfway around the world to one of the most remote islands on our planet in the hope of finding perfect waves. For Chris and Chuck, the dream of paradise has come true. With our dreams fulfilled, we return at last to Hawaii, where we're struck by the feeling that total fulfillment often eludes us until, at last, we return to that place we call home.
You get so high, just setting me up for the fall.
big, I mean really big waves like these third reef monsters at Outside Pipeline are absolutely terrifying. The fear is even present in the hush on the beach as all who watch from the safety of the shore realize that to paddle out is a life and death decision.